you're well. Today I'm going to be taking you throughout our home and showcasing all of the plants that we have sprinkled throughout our space. I absolutely love the look of live plants in a home. I just feel like they add so much freshness and life, and of course they have so many benefits like purifying the air. So in my opinion, the more plants the merrier, and I always love to add to my collection. But today I just want to take you through some of my favorite house plants as well as some of my favorite plants that we have in our garden space, and just share any tips and plant wisdom that I've gathered along the way. I'm so thankful for all of the advice that I received, so hopefully you'll be able to pick up some advice today. And one of my new obsessions that I want to do all over our home is train the vines of certain plants vertically. I just think that is so beautiful. This pothos behind me, I started to train over our windows, over our dining area, and it just looks so whimsical and captivating, and again, just really livens up the space. So I'm going to give you all the details, and while we're here, let's just start right here, right now. So I already pointed out the pothos, and this pothos, funnily enough, it was actually purchased at IKEA. They actually sell some live plants, at least they used to. Last time I went, I think I saw some as well, but this pothos has been with me for probably 5 or 6 years at this point, and pothos is a great place to start with this video because they truly are one of the most simple plants to take care of. They're incredibly low maintenance, low drama, and I really just love their trailing vines that just seem to grow so effortlessly. So this is a great place to start, and we have a few more pothos inside and outside. So sometimes when I put them outside, they can not fare the best if it's too much direct sunlight. So they do prefer a bit more shade, but they will grow really nicely if they have an abundance of sunlight as well. But they really don't need to be in the direct light, and that can actually burn the leaves. But this one is very happy in this part of our home, and this part of our home gets a lot of light during the day, but this particular area doesn't get any direct sunlight. So we have that beautiful pothos, and next to the pothos I have some propagation, and this little vessel was purchased at World Market. It is absolutely perfect for propagation because you have all of the different test tubes, so you can have a variety, and I love the look of it. And then underneath our shelves we have this gorgeous monstera, which I've had for about 4 years now, but it has never been happier. It is absolutely thriving, and right now it's especially perky and it's getting so tall. I love to see it. I probably should repot this monstera soon, but I love the size of it and I love having it in our kitchen dining room space, so I'm hesitant to repot it, but it really is so beautiful. And I recently added some additional support to help the long leaves just have a bit more structure and perk up, like I said. So I will link the support that I purchased for the monstera in case you need some extra support for yours as well. And by the way, throughout this video, I'm going to be sharing everything that I've learned, but I am by no means an expert when it comes to plants, and I love to hear any of your advice. Knowledge sharing is so beautiful to me, and I know so many of you are probably deeply passionate about plants and can share some wisdom with me. So really appreciate any tips that you have as well. But the monstera, I water it about once a week. I don't have a specific day or watering schedule with any of our indoor plants. I just typically do it Saturday morning, and I'll give them a thorough watering, and then every month or so I'll also spray them so that the leaves can get some nice moisture and humidity. So that's something I love to do. And I also, while we're talking about feeding, I wanted to share a couple fertilizer ideas that I've been doing for years that are really simple, but I feel like add a lot of nutrients for your plants. The first one is coffee grounds. So I have this compost bin under our sink, and we put coffee grounds in there, but you can just put them in a bowl or even a watering can. And the most efficient way that I've learned to do this is pour the coffee grounds in your watering can and fill it with water, and then you can pour that over your plants, and that just adds additional nutrients because Indoor plants, of course, they're not getting as many nutrients as outdoor plants do, especially with rainwater. Being out in nature, of course, provides so many valuable nutrients that we cannot provide within the home. So I love to kind of substitute that with things like coffee grounds and then also diluted banana peels. So what I do with this is I'll save banana peels and then I'll add them to a jar, pour water over that jar, let that sit for a day or two, and once that time has passed, you can pour that banana water into your watering can, dilute that with some more water, and then pour over your plants. And with this one, I don't have to worry about the coffee grounds as much, but with this one, you do want to be wary and definitely dilute it with more water because, of course, any sort of fruity substance can attract bugs. Thankfully, I've never had a problem with it in the past. I've been doing it for years now, and I've never had, a lot of bugs be gravitated to the banana water, but I am sure to dilute it with extra water. So there's some fertilizer tips that have really worked nicely, and I do that about 4 times a year, so not very often. The coffee grounds I do more often, but the banana water I do about 4 times a year. Okay, now we will move along into the kitchen because there's something I want to show you in here. Clearly our kitchen is in bloom. I wanted to highlight something that we've begun to do recently that I absolutely love. So instead of fresh cut flowers, we have been putting potted flowers on our kitchen island, and this has just been so beautiful and inspiring to have this color, especially first thing in the morning, but it also lasts longer than fresh cut flowers. So for instance, these 2 potted tulips that I have, these are from Trader Joe's, and I've had them for a couple weeks now, and they are so beyond gorgeous. And I actually, at the same time that I bought the potted tulips, I bought already cut tulips, and these are on their last leg. They look a little spent, but our potted tulips are still very much thriving, and I believe I saw some new growth as well. So even though I got them at the same time, the potted ones are continuing to grow because they have that soil and root system still there. We also have these these are called sun stars, I believe. They're so cute. And then this sunflower was, I picked that at a local farm, but I just wanted to share that idea because even though it may seem simple or obvious, to me, I love fresh cut flowers, so I would just purchase those or take them from the garden, but having potted flowers is also such a fun idea, especially for springtime. And now in our living room, the only plant that we have in here is a showstopper, our Bismarck palm. This one I'm excited to talk about because this is not traditionally a house plant, but where there's a will, there's a way. And I will say some of the best advice I've received when it comes to gardening and plants in general is right plant, right place. So really, when you're wanting to have success with growing and taking care of plants, it really depends on what space and light you're working with, and then if that pairs well with the plant you want. So in this case, this Bismarck palm is not traditionally indoors, especially if it doesn't get direct sunlight every day. So when I purchased this a few months ago, I was telling the nursery owner where I wanted to put it in my plans, and he was doubting me. He was, trying to talk me out of it, but I was persistent about it, and I really just wanted to give it a try. And now that it's been a few months, of course, we're not too far along into the life of this plant, but it's doing okay. It's not doing great. I will say it is not doing great. I wouldn't say it's thriving, but it is doing well. It still looks absolutely beautiful, and it has a new leaf that is growing and growing. It's actually getting quite tall, so I'm hoping it'll start to open soon. And the plan with this gorgeous plant is it'll be in our living room all throughout the year except for Christmas, because this is where we put our Christmas tree. So the plan is to move this palm outside during the winter months, because in Florida we're able to do that and we really don't have to worry about frost too much. So hopefully during the winter months it can get some nice sun and continue to grow, and then when we bring it indoors, it might not grow as quickly, but it'll still do okay and continue to adjust. So that's my wishful thinking. I'm hoping it'll continue to do okay, and I did scoot it even closer to this small window we have because we do get direct sunlight through this window. And then I also will open this small window in the morning time often so that I can just get some extra direct sunlight right straight on the leaves and also some fresh air. And to be completely honest, I still am figuring out how to water this plant and what it prefers. When I first brought it home, I watered it every day because that's what I looked up online, but since it is indoors, it really does not need that much water because the water does not soak up and evaporate as much as it would outdoors. So now I water it every few days, and I also have a watering globe in the middle, so if the core of the root system and soil is ever dry, some of that water will be released. And now we're in my office, and this is the side of our home that actually gets the least amount of direct sunlight. So it is more of a low light space, but thankfully all of these plants have still done really, really well. So let's start with our heartleaf philodendron. It is so cute. I love the colors of this variety. It's kind of like a nice light green, and this is also a really low maintenance plant. I water this one around once a week. I just add a little bit of water in the soil and make sure it's moist. It actually could use a little watering right now, but I do love how the vines start to trail as well. And this one has been one that's stuck with me for quite some time and continues to grow and do well, but it doesn't grow super rapidly, at least where it is in this space of our home, but it's a cutie. And here we have another monstera, which this one is about to burst out of this pot. It's so cute how it's growing towards the light. So if you look at the base of the soil, which clearly I need to water, most of the leaves are pointed towards the windows because it's trying to soak up all that light, but it's very beautiful and ready to propagate. I need to trim this and start to propagate because these are just such beautiful leaves. And now we're keeping it in the monstera family. I've thought about it, and I think I'm ready to confirm that this is probably my #1 favorite houseplant. This is the Swiss cheese plant, and like I said, it is within the monstera family, so I stick to the same care tips. I water it about once a week and mist it every once in a while as well. This is so beautiful. I mean, all of the little details within the leaves are just so precious, and I have propagated this guy so many times. Actually, so that one in the back of my office started this one. So I propagated part of that larger plant and made this smaller one that isn't so small anymore. It continues to trail, and this is one of my favorite plants to have the vertical growth. So let me show you the plant clips that I used to create this. There are these little sticker plant clips, and they blend in so well with the leaves to really create a seamless organic look. And that's how I secure the plants, and they continue to grow really well that way. So my plan is to keep adding these trailing plants all throughout our home because I just find it to be so charming. And then the last plant that we have in the office is this Birds of Paradise in the corner. And this one is so great. I'm so thankful it's doing well, even though it's just kind of tucked away in the corner. And it's right by the window, but again, doesn't get that much direct sunlight. But this is a really adaptable plant, and if you really love the look of more tropical and coastal decor and home environment, this is definitely a great one to add to your list. In our powder bathroom, we have 3 of the most easy to take care of houseplants to exist, of my knowledge. We have the snake plant, a Hoya, and ZZ plant. And again, these are just so incredibly adaptable, versatile, and low maintenance. So another great place to start in addition to the pothos. And I just water these every so often. Another thing I wanted to highlight when it comes to plant care with indoor plants is dusting. I was just checking these plants out, and I noticed a good bit of dust gathering. So definitely something I try to do every so often is wiping down the leaves, just making sure that dust isn't collecting, of course, for our health, but also for the plant's health as well. The last plant within our indoor space is this gorgeous Chinese evergreen, which you can't really see. Let me Let me grab it. This one tends to get a little neglected because I just have it up here in the laundry room, but it is really beautiful. It is looking a little droopy right now, but I just gave it a nice watering, so I'm sure it'll perk up soon. But this one is so special because it actually is from my grandmother. She propagated it from her Chinese evergreen and then gave me a little baby one, and it has grown so much. So even though it's looking a little droopy right now, it does do really well, even though, again, it does get neglected a little bit. So I'm thankful it hangs in there, and this plant would actually prefer more sunlight than this space provides because we don't always have this window open. So it could use a little bit more sunlight, but it is persistent. It is growing a lot more leaves, and this little section back here is fairly new. So she's still growing away, but definitely a good reminder for me to keep this open, this window open for her more often. But that's a wrap for all of our indoor plants, and now let's head out to the garden. I want to start off by highlighting my pride and joy of the season, these absolutely gorgeous zinnias. I'm so thankful they have grown well in this space. I had never planted anything in this little bed before, so thankfully the soil we put down did okay, and we do have more clay and sandy-like soil where we live, so I wasn't sure how that would bode for the zinnias, but thankfully they are really doing so well, and I find them to be so incredibly charming and enchanting and so whimsical looking with their long stems. So really thankful they're doing well. The butterflies love them, and we had a lot of other wildflowers planted around the zinnias, but the bunnies ate them. So thankfully the zinnias seem to be safe from the bunnies, but definitely recommend starting with zinnias if you're looking to get into fresh cut backyard flowers. You could even plant them in a pot indoors near a window. They are really, really amazing flowers, and their vase life is really long as well. So if you cut them and then put them in a vase, that lasts longer than other flowers. So I am clearly a big zinnia fan. I could go on and on, but definitely a highlight of our spring garden. I also want to highlight this autograph plant. I love the look of these. They sort of have these thick, rubbery, succulent-like leaves, and they sort of give me a coastal feel as well. So we plan to plant a lot more of these, but definitely great for a tropical climate. We have so much beauty in bloom in the garden. We have tons of basil. I actually want to make some dried basil soon. That's one way I like to utilize the abundance of basil, is just store it up. It makes a great gift as well. Some fresh garden dried basil. I love doing that. And we have lots of wildflowers in bloom. I want to show you some of my favorite daisies. These are so sweet. They have been with me for ever since I started gardening. It's one of the first things I planted. They are such sweet daisies, and I love putting them on pastries or any fun little drinks or appetizers I make because they are an edible flower, so they really add so much character to a dish. I think they're adorable. And I see a carrot that I actually want to try to harvest with you while we're here. It has been hanging out in that bed for a while. I haven't had the best luck with carrots in the past. All of our carrots have come out very cute and quirky, but we'll see what this one looks like. It has been fun to experiment with. And I will say our bell peppers and jalapenos are doing fantastic. They have really just continued to thrive and grow. We have quite an abundance to harvest, which I'm thankful for because we love bell peppers and especially love jalapenos and spicy foods. So it has been so special to be able to grow them and use them when cooking as well. So we have those, and then this is our wildflower bed. We have milkweed and a bunch of other wildflowers, and then kale in the back bed, which I have some real estate in the back bed as well that I want to add something to. So still brainstorming what I want to plant next, but let's end by harvesting a carrot. How does that sound? Oh, that's a cute one. Again, very quirky, but also cute. I think our raised garden beds may be a little bit too shallow to successfully grow full-size carrots, but we've had fun with it, and I'm currently growing some Everglades tomatoes right next to where I have this carrot, so I'm really excited for those. I hope they do well. They are native to my area, which I am in garden zone 9B, so hopefully that's helpful. But let's give this carrot a taste test. Pretty good. A little bitter, but pretty good, and it always tastes better knowing it came from the garden. It just makes it more special. But that's gonna be it for today's video. I really hope you enjoyed it and hopefully took something away from this video. Let me know if you plan on adding any of the plants I shared to your home space, and let me know if you have any plant suggestions. I love adding to the collection, so I always get inspired by what you suggest as well. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day, and I'm excited to see you next. Bye!